I'm Ashutosh, you're watching NDTV. The show is called Politically Incorrect. Mr. Donald Trump is coming to India, and India is preparing to pay him so much respect which he hardly deserves. He deserves because he is the President of America. He does not deserve because he is Mr. Donald Trump. He is the man who is called anti-democratic, the man who is called anti-women, the man is called racist, and the man is even hated in his own country. He can be said as one of the biggest liar this country or any country has ever produced. Why are we going gung-ho about Donald Trump's visit? I think we should discuss that.
Namaskar. Strategic diplomacy is something which is expected from every government so as to develop and maintain friendly and cordial relations with other countries. Our Prime Minister had a very fruitful visit a few months back when he visited United States, and the same is being prepared to be reciprocated when the President of United States of America is visiting India. It is interesting to observe that between 1947 and 1999, only 3 US presidents visited India. However, during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time, Bill Clinton had visited India, and since then, every US president has been visiting India. For the last 2 years, there has been a further improvement in the ties between the two countries, and in the coming days, it is expected that the Indian and US government are going to sign pacts on security, on counter-terrorism cooperation, on intellectual property rights, and many such important issues.
See, there's no doubt that Mr. Donald Trump is the President of America. But Mr. Donald Trump has also another personality, the personality which is despicable. It is true that he's coming here as a President of America. As a President of America, there are certain diplomatic niceties, there are certain diplomatic courtesies which has to be extended, which is extended to all the head of the states and all head of the government. But the way Mr. Modi government is treating him, it looks like the Mr. Donald Trump is not only the President of America, but he's also the emperor of the world. He's the global emperor, the new royalty. And it is said that 70 lakh people are going to welcome him in Ahmedabad. That's obscene number, and that's untrue also. Today, the fact is, we could have accorded that kind of reception to any person who has been friendly to India. But unfortunately, despite all the hyperbolic used by Modi government, Mr. Donald Trump is not a friend of India. And I'll cite 3-4 examples. The one example, Mr. Donald Trump is a in his true sense, he's a businessman. He's coming to India to do business. It's a transactional trip, and he expects India to surrender before him. Very recently, he has removed India from the list of developing countries to the developed countries. We can be very happy about it, but the fact is, when a country is in the list of developing countries, he has extended certain reliefs when you do business with that. Now, with the changing of the list, now India is economically and trade-wise is a great sufferer. Very recently, and not only that, Mr. Donald Trump has used the word. He said that there are the countries who use WTO negotiations and the charters to do forgery. That means India was doing forgery by being in the developing countries. Is it a gesture of a friendly government? Secondly, India was removed from the list of GPF, that is generalized preference system. Under that, India has been getting lot of relief. Now that is also removed. Now America is treating us, asking us, don't import oils from Iran. And if you do that, I'll put restrictions. Don't buy defense missile system from Russia, that is S-400. If you do that, I'll put restrictions, put sanctions. Don't buy 5G Wahhabi from the China. If you do that, I'll put restrictions. Is this the gesture of a country? Is this the gesture of a president who claims to be a great friend of Mr. Modi? And also, he's saying Mr. Modi has told me that 70 lakh people, that is 7 million people will welcome him. Who is lying? Is Mr. Modi lying or is Mr. Trump lying? Because a similar statement has been made by Trump a few months back when he said, Mr. Modi asked me to mediate in the Kashmir issue. Mr. Modi has not clarified, and also Trump not clarified the foreign affairs divisions of both the countries has clarified that. But the fact is, either of the two is lying. And I respect my Prime Minister. I have no reason to believe that Mr. Modi was lying or is lying. That means Trump is a proven liar. He's lying.
Well, Mr. Donald Trump is being greeted and welcomed in this country not as an individual, but because he is holding the post of President of United States of America. Had there been any other person who, besides Donald Trump, even he would have been greeted with the same warmth, because in India we believe in Atithi Devo Bhava. Yes, one cannot deny that as far as the trade agreement between the two countries are there are some fundamental disagreements which are related to tariff. But at the same time, it is important to notice that in the last 2 or 3 years, the business between the two countries has been growing at the rate of 10%. And also, while United States of America is one of the biggest, one of the foremost providers in terms of countries from where we get various kind of equipments and food products. Even in the United States, India is listed as the 6th largest country from where they are getting various kind of things. Now, these fundamental differences which are there in the tariff, which are basically related to tariff, that is because it is, every country looks forward to get the best deal for its nation and its citizens. And that is where the conflict arises. There are certain examples which can be put forth. The major areas where there are differences which needs to be resolved, which are related to subsidies, which is related to medical equipment, which is related to animal and dairy products, which the Americans want to send to India, but we have put a very high tariff or import duty on it, because of which they become very expensive over here. And so on and so forth. So there are, and of course, one another important thing is of the data. The United States Trade Relation Office has time and again reiterated that India is the king of tariffs, and especially related to the data of the Indian citizens, because Indian government has been very strict on this aspect, that the personal data of Indian citizens cannot be taken by the companies. So each one of them tries to negotiate, and this happens with every country. It is not just United States of America. Even if when India is dealing with any other country, whether it is any developed countries or developing country, each country wants to buy a best deal for itself. And that is what is being negotiated between the two. And let us hope that there is something where both the countries, they try to build a perspective where a long-term relationship can be maintained, and that is something which is important, especially when a scenario where there is a global slowdown taking place.
Thank you to both our guest anchors for their opening arguments. Namaste Trump. Who is it going to benefit more? Modi, Trump, India or US? This is what we are discussing, and now it's time to open the floor for our audience. Let's take the question first for Ashutosh.
Namaste sir. सर मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन ये रहेगा कि हम इसको मनी ओरिएंटेड या फिर हम इसको ऑडियंस ओरिएंटेड क्यों बना रहे हैं? 70 लाख पीपल आर वेलकमिंग हिम. व्हाई आरंट वी सीइंग जो इश्यूज आपने मेंशन किए या जो फर्दर ट्रेड है जो हम उसके साथ बिल्ड कर सकते हैं, व्हाई आरंट वी सीइंग कि रिलेशनशिप बढ़ाने से हमारा फर्दर बेनिफिट होगा फ्यूचर में? जो इश्यूज होंगे वो रिजॉल्व हो सकते हैं, हमें ट्रेड में एडवांटेज हो सकता है, एंड वी नो दैट ही इज नॉट कमिंग एज अ इंडिविजुअल बट एज द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका.
As a head of the state, as a head of the government, there are certain diplomatic niceties which has to be extended. Extend that. Why are you creating an event for a man who's despicable? And I'm saying this on record. You take the audio clips which has come up during his elections, what he used to say about the women. We are respecting, we are treating him as if he's a god. Let's forget it. America is no longer God. India is no longer a very poor country. That debate is over. Now we are in 21st century. In the 21st century, the issue is the relationship should be based on equality. And if we treat him like a god, and if the impression goes that we are surrendering him, despite all kinds of sanctions he is threatening to impose on us, why he is doing that? Why he has removed us from the developing countries list to the developed countries list? That is putting extra burden on our exchequer, on our businesses, on our it's affecting our businesses and trades. And you are trying to treat him like a god. I think that's wrong. It's not. It should not be done something like this. There have been American presidents, a great American president like Abraham Lincoln, like the Clinton himself was a great president. Bush, Ronald Reagan was a great president. Donald Trump is not a great president. Why we are treating him like that? That's my worry is.
Right. Let's take the question for Geeta now, please.
Ma'am, US and China are on a trade war already. India benefited from that trade war. In the first half of 2019, we got a $755 million worth of export from US. Why aren't we benefiting more from that trade war? We, as India, we are doing so much for the US. We spoke against China's Belt and Road Initiative that angered another ally, Russia. And Donald Trump didn't spend a single penny in the Howdy Modi event, but the Indian government is spending 120 crore to welcome Trump here in India. God, we are even making a wall. He's so fond of walls. He wanted to make one in US, but he couldn't make one there. So now his friend is making one in India. We are doing so much for US. Still, there is no talks of trade war. And even the Minister of External Affairs, Ravish Kumar, confirmed that India is not treating spokesperson, confirmed that India is not treating USA very well.
I think he's referring to the fact that we are getting no deal.
No, I have understood the question. You see, first of all, what happens is sometimes one news item comes in a particular newspaper and everyone picks up and, each news portal comes out, especially about the wall thing. I'll start with that. However, if you actually look into the official statement of the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation Commissioner, he has officially stated that this project about this wall which has been put up on certain section of where the president is going to, his in a way caravan is going to go through, that is this wall was something which actually was proposed more than 2 months back, where in Ahmedabad in various locations there has been encroachment at roads and even at footpaths. And in this particular area where there was a lot of tea plantation, which this is a statement which has been given by the commissioner, not mine. And there were tea plantation which was, people were just taking it out and they were even trying to encroach even that area. So as to overcome that, tenders were floated for making these walls, and this process was done way before it was decided or this came into, into knowledge that President Trump will be visiting India. So there are times when the real and the fake get so mixed up that we are not able to understand what is the truth. Second is that it is not so. India is, of course, because a president is coming, and that too of a nation which has a significant presence globally, and there are security threats to him, for which it is very important that security needs to be provided. Even when Mr. Obama had visited India just 4 years back, in I think 2015 he came to India, at that time he faced a lot of criticism in his own country because it is believed that millions of dollars were spent on his security. More than 3,000 US security personnel had come to India during his brief visit. So this kind of expenditure does take place, and the Indian government is trying to make its own arrangements. Now, as far as when we are talking about, like for example, Ashutosh ji was talking, you see, personally, there might be many things about the president personally which may be objectionable and which need to be objected. But at the same time, I think while he was glorifying Mr. Bill Clinton, there is a lot of personal history behind Bill Clinton also. So let us not be selective about it. Now, coming to the fact,
your time is over, Geeta.
But there are some other points
I have
which
to
need to be
interrupt you. I would suggest you keep it precise and concise next time. But we'll take a very short break now. When we come back, we have many more members of the audience who want to ask a question. So short break now. We come back very soon. Welcome back. You're watching Politically Incorrect. Who is going to benefit from the trip that President of United States Donald Trump is undertaking? Is it India, or is it US, or is it individually the two leaders of the nation? This is what we are discussing, and let's ask our next question. Who would, yes, please ask Ashutosh.
हमें बचपन से एक कॉन्सेप्ट सिखाया गया है कि अतिथि देवो भव, एंड भारत माना जाता है कि हमें अपनी मेहमान नवाजी के लिए माना जाता है. तो अगर कोई भी आता, चाहे वो डोनाल्ड ट्रंप हो या किसी और कंट्री का भी प्रेसिडेंट आता, तो हम उसी तरीके से वेलकम करते. तो इसमें बुराई क्या है?
कोई बुराई नहीं है. आपने पिछली बार कितने अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपतियों को या फ्रांस के राष्ट्रपति को या ब्राजील के राष्ट्रपति को इस तरीके का सम्मान दिया है? क्यों नहीं दिया? सी, मिस्टर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप क्या कहते हैं? मिस्टर ट्रंप कहते हैं इंडिया हैज नॉट ट्रीटेड हिम वेल. नाउ वी आर ट्रीटिंग हिम वेल. This is the way to treat him well. A man who is hated in his own country, despite being the president. And that New York Times and the Washington Post has come out with more than 10,000 lies, documented lies. You Google, you will find out. The man who lies on every second. That's what I'm saying. As a president, he should be accorded certain diplomatic respect. Certain reception has to be given to him. But this kind of reception, I hate to say that. एंड अभी गीता जी कह रही थी कि वो जो वहां पे दीवार बन रही 2 महीने पहले. डू यू बिलीव द स्टेटमेंट गिवन बाय द म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशंस? नो. यू नो हाउ द म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन वर्क्स. डू यू बिलीव दैट नोटिसेस वर सर्व्ड टू those slum dwellers who were living for the last 20 years there? Is anybody bothered about how will they run their houses? How their kids will be fed? No. Just because of this man is coming. There is a Hyderabad house. Come there, meet there, shake hand, sign treaties, go back. Why to organize an event? Building a more than a godlike persona of Mr. Donald Trump.
Okay.
I can understand what she said about the Bill
Time is
Clinton.
up.
There's a very nuanced difference. Bill Clinton, whatever he did was inappropriate. But it was a consensual. Here, this man has a
Your
basic
time is up,
hate.
Ashutosh.
So he's justifying what Bill Clinton did anyway.
Okay, we are not justifying any of the harassment
No.
here. Let's.
I'm saying
No, I
there
want to.
has a
I
difference
want.
has
See,
to be
I don't
made
want to.
between the consensual
We are not
sex
here to
and
discuss about the personal
his-
lives of the head of the states who are coming to India. We are not here to discuss their personal
No,
lives.
but you mentioned
I'm
that,
sure.
Geeta ji.
No, because
you did mention that.
because you said
You
that.
did mention that.
You are
That's
the
why
one
I'm
who started
responding
it,
to that.
Ashutosh ji.
I'm
You are the
responding to
one
that.
who started it. So I had to counter. While you were criticizing one, you were favoring another. So I just
No,
said,
I'm-
please have a balanced view. However,
good for you that you are
what
ju-
we
you
need
are
to here
justifying the
discuss
man.
is, the point is that, this has been the culture for a very long time, that come to Hyderabad house, do what you want. There has been, you see, in the last 5 years, what has changed is that the Prime Minister of the country has, these are the kind of, innovative ideas, that if a head of the state is coming, you take them to different places. It is not when the Chinese premier came, we saw that the Prime Minister hosted in south of India, in Mahabalipuram, and how much of, attention the place got, the historical and cultural importance of that place.
I'll have to interrupt.
And there is so much of, tourism increase there. It is not, so this has been, and it is not just that the president is going only to Ahmedabad, he is going to Agra also after that.
Okay.
So this is a very good initiative which needs to be, because
Geeta,
there
I
are-
did have a question here for you, but I think we do not have the time for that. Instead, because I think you both have points to counter, I will distribute the remaining time between the two of you, and I will request the buzzer to go off accordingly. I'm first giving you the opportunity, then
See,
Geeta.
my worry is that Indian foreign policy has just restricted itself to the event management. Where is the substance? When Mr. Jinping, when वो झूला झूल रहे थे अहमदाबाद में, then Doklam was happening and our soldiers were killed. Is it the nationalism? We are treating this man, and where Indo-US trade relationship has gone. This man is threatening us with sanction and sanction and sanction, and we are treating him like God. The issue is, the foreign policy is based on equality. If the man is not treating you well, why should we treat him well? There are certain diplomatic niceties, please do that. But the issue is, and she's talking about the tourism. Tourism is improved, economy is tanking. And then now we are talking about the tourism. So let's talk about substance. Let's not talk about only event management. Mr. Modi has reduced Indian politics and foreign policy into an event management, and that is why we are suffering so much on the field of economics and on the foreign policy.
Geeta.
Well, as Ashutosh ji said, that it is about equality, and that's exactly what the Indian government is trying to achieve. And I am going to talk on the merits and not about, just criticizing some individual. It is very important to notice that Indian government very significantly slashed the maximum retail price of many medical equipments, for example, cardiac stents and, the implants, knee implant equipments which we get from United States of America. And that has been a very big bone of contention. And that is one of the reasons why the the favoring nation status had to go. And after that, India had gone to WTO, registered its protest. And also India in retaliation had, improved the import duty on products which we have been getting from United States of America, like almonds, and India is one of the biggest consumers of American almonds, on apples which come from United States of America and various other such products. So this is something, it is not that, India has meagerly submitted to whatever any other country is asking them to do, but this is what this negotiation is all about. And every country needs to bring also a balance, as it is give some and take some, and that is how the diplomacy works.
Right. Okay, I would just like to thank both my guest anchors for being here and putting forth their arguments, and also this audience that asked some extremely stimulating questions. We're going to wrap up now, but before we leave, we hope that this meeting goes just beyond this diplomatic courtesy and all this money being spent, and there is something substantial that India gets out of one of the biggest countries' leader coming to our country. That's all we have for you in this show. Have a good day.